Bring it in.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the special meeting of the Western Opportunity Partnership. If we can start with roll call, please.
Okay, happy to do that. Sharon Allen,
Here.
Alicia Burns.
Here.
It's not right. Okay. Dr. Douglas Craddock,
Present.
Kevin Fields,
Here.
Jennifer Hancock, Councilwoman Tammy Hawkins, Secretary Jackson,
Present.
Deputy Mayor David James,
Here.
Ms. Darlene Johnson Jones. Ms. Darlene? Dr. Gabriel Jones Jr. Dr. Mary Milliner,
Here.
Nicole Nagel,
Here.
or proxy. Oh, that didn't count. That's right, sorry. Okay, that's right. Christopher Romaine,
Here.
Desmond Smith Jr.,
Here.
Kevin Smith,
Here.
Reverend David Snarden,
Present.
Here.
Gary Williams, Secretary Jeff Knoll,
I'm here.
and Jeff O'Brien.
Here.
Okay, now I'm gonna go back. Let's see. Okay, so Jennifer Hancock,
Here.
Dr. Gabriel Jones Jr.,
Here.
Ms. Darlene Johnson. Okay, I see Ms. Darlene's name on the screen, but hopefully she'll come alive in a few minutes. We do have a quorum, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you very much. So, not to hold everyone too long, but we do want to take this time for Amy Kovich, if you would go over some information really quickly about some important information.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. And sorry, I've been outside a lot today, so my allergies have caused me to be a little hoarse. First off, just as a procedural matter, when we're voting later, I'm assuming we'll end up doing a roll call vote, but your camera will have to be on, not just the voice, for your vote to count. We've got quorum, so that's not a problem, but please, if you want your vote to count tonight, turn on your camera when you're voting. The other is I just wanted to address a procedural issue. Ms. Newman is here on behalf of the Urban League, on behalf of Lyndon Pryor. We're happy to have her here, but there were some questions earlier about whether or not our governing statutes and bylaws allow proxy voting. They do not. The only provision that is allowed for proxies is for our two non-voting members. So they get to be participants in the meetings. That's Secretary Knoll and Jeff O'Brien, but they do not have a vote. I received the question of whether or not, because the statute doesn't mention proxies in any other way, whether or not other board members can send a proxy to participate. And that's not part of our special meeting tonight. So our procedure has been that we have allowed people to send a proxy to participate. So we don't want to change that tonight. So Ms. Newman will be allowed to make a statement on behalf of the Urban League for that board seat. Will not be voting, but we just wanted to make it clear that in the future that might change. The board will need to address that. But for tonight, we absolutely didn't want to change anything, particularly since that was not noticed on the agenda. So welcome, Felicia. We're glad you're here. And we just wanted to make sure that everybody understood what rules of the road that we're having tonight.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, so at this time, I guess we will turn it over to, is that Miss Laura Douglas and
Travis.
and Travis? Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Milliner, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for your attendance, and as you are, it's a very important meeting for the partnership. Let me kind of level set before we begin the meat of our discussion this evening. In many of the conversations that we've had leading up to this meeting, there have been some questions that have arisen, and I think it's important for us to address those before Travis goes into the meat of the presentation. First of all, Goodwill and the partnership input from the community was solicited and taken prior to us getting to this point this evening. Particularly on behalf of the partnership, I think you're all aware that the statute requires us to base any allocation of funding on authorization questions or expressed by the 9 neighborhood community members. Many of you attended our 10 neighborhood meetings last spring. In each of those neighborhood meetings, residents had an opportunity to tell us what was important to them, what were their priorities. As a result of those meetings, the board published and approved a report which priorities, both a cumulative matter, but also in an individual neighborhood manner. The number one priority expressed in those neighborhood meetings that was a need in the community was low and moderate income housing. So what we are doing this evening is based upon the needs expressed when we solicited input from the community. Goodwill has indicated that they also reached out to the community, to neighbors, when they were determining whether or not they wanted to go forward with the project. So any suggestion that input from the man on the street, from the neighborhood, did not take place is erroneous. Let me also say that if you look at our statutes, particularly 65-502, the statute at section 1M gives the partnership the ability to purchase, acquire, own, hold, and dispose of real estate. So our recommendation that we acquire real estate this evening is entirely consistent with authorization statute. And one of the other items that I want to call your attention to is also at 65-502-1N. We are particularly told that we have a right and responsibility to invest in projects that create affordable housing within the development area. So nothing we are going forward with this evening is in the least bit ultra virus or outside our current authority. Now, finally, before I turn things over to Travis for a deep dive into the project, let me say this, that many times as West End residents, and I can talk about West End residents because I am one, we see ourselves in the middle of a scarcity mentality. We offer from our choice, either or choice. We can do one thing or we can do the other. I'm here to tell you, we have a both and mentality. We can do both things. We can do all things. A decision this evening is not a triumph for one side and a defeat for the other. Both sides, active parties will be addressed. So Travis, let me defer to you, and could you please take us through the project plan?
Good evening, everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen.
Make sure everybody can hear you. Can everybody hear Travis?
Yes.
Can
Can
you-
you hear?
Good.
I know Miss Darlene is having audio issues and she's working on it, but everybody else you can hear.
Can everyone
Yes.
see? Yeah, all right. So we're just gonna give a little bit of organizational background on both Goodwill and Walter Cooper. Walter Cooper is Goodwill's co-development partner in this project. Goodwill was founded in 1923 in Louisville. Goodwill Industries of Kentucky is a statewide nonprofit committed to helping individuals with disabilities and other disadvantages achieve employment and long-term self-sufficiency. Commission-driven focus on workforce development, Goodwill provides comprehensive support services tailored to individuals facing barriers such as incarceration, addiction, poverty, limited education, and physical or mental health challenges. In 2023, Goodwill launched its flagship Northern Healthcare Goodwill Opportunity Campus at 28th and Broadway in West Louisville. This 125,000 square foot center is the organizational headquarters and serves as a hub, hosting more than 30,000 services for 15,000 residents and over 566 events in 2024 alone. Goodwill partners with institutions like Kentuckiana Works, Legal Aid Society, Park Community Credit Union, and U of L School of Dentistry to provide integrated, life-changing support. Goodwill also stands as one of Kentucky's most impactful and trusted workforce development organizations. Walter Cooper Company Incorporated develops, designs, constructs, and manages affordable housing communities. Their team has broad expertise across the spectrum of affordable housing, urban and rural communities, senior and general occupancy communities, mid-rise, garden, and single-family communities, and new construction as well, as in this case. Acquisition, rehabilitation, and adaptive reuse developments. Since its founding in 1990, Walter Cooper has a long-term approach to every community it develops and constructs. The company owns and manages more than 330 communities with over 16,000 units and works hard to affect positive change in every village, town, and city where their housings are located. Walter Cooper is 700 plus employees strong and consistently ranks among the top affordable housing developers and owners in the country by affordable housing finance. The firm operates in 16 states in the Midwest, Mid-Atlantic, and Southeast, and has developed portfolio surpassing $1.5 million. The project itself, Goodwill Industries of Kentucky, a statewide nonprofit organization headquartered, of course, at 28th and West Broadway in the Parkland neighborhood, is requesting the West End Opportunity Partnership purchase the NIA Center located at 2900 West Broadway. Goodwill is committing $500 in funding for site prep and debris movement. This investment will lead to the development and construction of Opportunity Village, a 76-unit, 4-story affordable housing facility adjacent to Goodwill Opportunity Campus. Separate from this funding, Walter Cooper Development, with 34 years of experience in the development and management of multifamily apartments and single-family dwellings, amongst others, Opportunity Village, and a development cost of $21.5 million. The 76-unit, 4-story affordable housing development, co-developed by Goodwill and Walter Cooper, located at 28th and Broadway, existing on Opportunity Campus, is a low-income affordable housing solution, but also represents the final phase of Goodwill's supportive housing continuum, offering stable, affordable housing to individuals who have progressed through work and personal, including those impacted by poverty and addiction and the justice system. Several of these residents will have previously completed transitional housing phases through Goodwill's program and demonstrated employment stability, savings, and sobriety. While permanent in design, the project directly addresses the gap in affordable housing for second chance citizens who have taken steps to rebuild their lives. Opportunity Village is not traditional housing. nor is it simply low-income housing. It uniquely combines the structure and accountability of recovery or reentry housing with the permanence of long-term affordable living. Residents are not required to be program graduates, but preference is given to individuals who have completed recovery, transitional housing, or workforce development programs through Goodwill. This approach provides a path for second chance citizens and ensures a sustainable, integrated living environment. In addition to the financial strength of the development itself, the partnership's investment structure through an acquisition of the land has the potential to appreciate significantly over time. With over $70 million surrounding the development, including Norton Healthcare expansion, Dare to Care's headquarters, and ongoing corridor revitalization. The value of this strategically located parcel is likely to increase by the time the tax credit investors have fully realized their returns. Project cost is $21.5 million, as stated earlier. The funding request is $2.1 million in an equity investment via purchase of the NIA Center and this parcel of land, which is approximately 3 acres. Goodwill equity commitment will be $500,000 for demolition and site prep. The timeline is from June through 2027, mid-June of this year through late 2027. The units within the structure itself will be 48 one-bedrooms, 28 two-bedrooms. The sources for the funding come in the source of $13 million in low-income tax housing credits, which I mentioned earlier, a permanent first mortgage soft debt, and a second mortgage soft debt, both of $1 million. A deferred development fee of $250,000, which is over $18 million in original source funding, with, if approved, a $2.1 million infusion for the purchase of the NIA Center property and $500,000 for demo from Goodwill. So the tenant selection plan summary goes as follows. Key components are fair housing compliance, fully adheres to federal and civil rights, including VAW, ADA, and Section 504. Eligibility criteria: applicants must meet income limits, max 60% AMGI, have legal ID, social security, alien registration numbers, and past student status restriction. Waitlist management: applications accepted on a rolling basis, categorized by unit size and preference.
Okay.
Internal waiting is for current residents needing unit changes. Residents' preference priority given to applicants affiliated with public housing authority waiting lists, transitional housing or reentry programs, workforce readiness or behavioral health support programs, domestic violence survivors, employment at donated good retail centers. The screening process is as follows. Income is verified within 90 days of certification. Credit and background checks conducted through rent roll. Landlord history considered for past evictions or debts. Criminal background, screen for offenses, and sex offender registry. Reasonable accommodations available per 504 and ADA standards, and we did tour some of their properties, and all of the restrooms and the common areas and the apartments were ADA standard. Move includes lease signing, utility verification, and orientation, VA, WA, victim domestic violence, and granted housing protections, and may request verification for safety. So if there's an abuser staying in one of the units, the abuser can be removed from the property permanently, but the victim will be allowed to stay. The development will serve as households earning between 30 to of AMI support that promotes long-term community stability and inclusivity. There is an addendum to the tenant selection plan due to the relationship with Goodwill. Priority categories again: employment-focused transitional housing participants, case management or career coaching referrals, reentry program participants, substance abuse recovery program graduates, domestic violence victims, violence victims and domestic goods employment. Implementation guidelines, applicants meeting preference criteria are added to a specialized preference wait list. Units are offered based on the wait list, household eligibility, and matching needs. Preference categories are applied consistently with HUD guidelines and fair housing laws. Owner discretion applies in the event of conflict between the selection plan and Incorporated Goodwill Development Partner is a national respected leader of affordable housing with a strong presence in Kentucky. Since their founding in 1990, they have retained ownership of nearly all developments, having sold only one property, underscoring their long-term commitment to community investment. In Louisville, they are currently co-developing Bridlewood Crossing at 7945 3rd Street Road, a 70-unit affordable housing project in partnership with Wellsprings Inc. and Smith Solutions. Through its use of the low-income housing tax credits, Woder Cooper ensures that the units developed for this opportunity project will remain affordable housing for a minimum of 30 years. So the tax income housing credits expire in 15 years, but it's mandated that they must remain low-income housing for at least another year's minimum. But as I stated earlier, their history shows only one sale over time. This commitment further illustrates through the following projects shown on the next page with corresponding photos. So we visited Bray Crossing and we had a visit to Tristan Ridge. Both properties were well kept. Both properties, as I mentioned earlier, were ADA compliant. In Jefferson County, there's a shortage of housing. Currently, there's 3,700 public housing. There's over 10,000 vouchers used for Section 8. Subsidized developments, low-income tax housing credits are over 20,000, and just naturally occurring aging housing is over 10,000. So the majority in Jefferson County, is 45% of subsidized, which is like this project, low-income housing credits. Some may believe that the majority of the housing is simply in the West, but there's actually several other areas that have housing in Jefferson County. As you see through the color chart, throughout the area, there's several housing developments, and as we know, there are several to come. What I just mentioned, 3rd Street is out past Outer Loop. That one is a affordable housing project. Here in the South, you have 42 subsidized, 123 naturally occurring, 214 public housing, and 143 housing vouchers. So as I stated, as you can see from the actual map, that there is public housing and some type of housing in Jefferson County. So Goodwill's housing program. Currently, Goodwill has a housing program with a phase 2 of housing provided by a community partner, paid by Goodwill for individuals who are unemployed or have been employed full-time for less than 60 days. Phase 2.5 is housing provided by Goodwill for the same population. Phase 3 provided by Goodwill for 90 days. Individuals who have been employed full-time for a minimum of 60 days, substance-free for at least 90 days. If accepted, individuals will receive free rent utilities for 6 months. Requirements, regular drug testing. They must stay employed. They must save money. They must take the budgeting classes, continue to work with career coaches. After graduating phase 3, we'll provide a match for each person at move-out time with $1,000 for employees and $500 for others. Phase 4, as I said earlier, represents that next step for Goodwill, where they would actually have ownership of the property, and some of their graduates would still be able to receive wraparound services there. And through Goodwill's metrics, There are several things that they assistance with: housing needs, food, dependent care, education, health care, transportation, mental health and safety, substance abuse, and legal issues. So they move their people that are in that program from a 1 to a 5, which 5 is being fully empowered. Of course, we would like everyone to be there, but if they get them to 3, they start to just move them along if at all possible. But their program is only 4% of people that in that program have actually relapsed and committed some type of offense, which is 26% lower than the state average. Key community benefits. Permanent housing addresses the critical shortage of stable, low income housing. 1-bedroom units start at $695, topping out at $1,095. 2-bedroom units starting at $805 and topping out at $1,295. Direct in-person engagement. Goodwill, through its West Louisville Opportunity Center, will directly engage with more than 1,500 low-income residents for the area in 2025, and uniquely positioned to market Opportunity Village as an affordable housing option. Many clients of their family and their families are experiencing housing instability and stand to benefit from affordable housing provided by Opportunity. Economic revitalization supports city-led initiatives to attract further investment in the Broadway corridor. Community development enhances safety, infrastructure, and neighborhood pride. So the units themselves, as I stated earlier, the 1-bedroom or 2 bedrooms, ranging from 710 square feet to 938 square feet, having several amenities: stove, refrigerator, dishwasher, microwave, luxury vinyl tile, but also on the property, planned to be a playground, dog park, picnic area, outdoor terrace, community room, on-site manager, security cameras, fob entry, children playroom, library, computer room, fitness room, co-office workspace, billiards room, and tenant storage. Opportunity Village represents the final phase of Goodwill supportive housing, as I mentioned earlier. It provides permanent affordable housing for individuals with overcome poverty, addiction, involvement, and are seeking a stable, dignified place to call home. This project offers a long-term, low-income housing solution that addresses the critical shortage of affordable units in West Louisville, as evidenced by the data and the tenant selection strategy included in the project documentation. By investing in this initiative, stakeholders are supporting a model of housing that fosters long-term recovery, workforce engagement, and community. Walter Cooper is an award developer. Last year alone, they won Maintenance Technician of the Year, Manager of the Year, Most Improved Property of the Year, and Best Management Company of the Year. Walter Cooper will assume all the responsibilities as concerning mitigating risk with the tax credit recaptures. As long as they're compliant, there's no issue there at all. And Walter Cooper has never had any of their tax credits recaptured. Guaranteed risk. Walter Cooper provides certainty to investment. Partnership agreement will provide indemnification to protect Goodwill's assets and 501c3 status. Compliance and risk. Walter Cooper will provide guarantee for tax credit recaptures. Investor relations. Walter Cooper will work with investors, limited partners, and low-income housing tax credit. Operating cost overruns. Walter Cooper will assume those as well. Construction overruns. Walter Cooper will assume those as well. Goodwill has stated that they have every intention that if this initiative is approved this evening, to not only work along with the tenants that are currently in the building, but also to begin the immediate process of selling the property that is adjacent to Norton Healthcare, but a potential expansion of Norton Healthcare. We have a letter here from Amy Latrell. I'll read it for you. I am writing this letter because Goodwill Kentucky has been asked to provide additional information for the use by WEOP board in considering our proposal. I can confirm that Goodwill is interested in selling 3.0 acres of land on our campus adjacent to Norton Healthcare for the potential future expansion of Norton Medical Facilities. If the WEOP board approves the Goodwill proposal, our next step would be to seek alignment from Northern Healthcare and the Goodwill's board's approval of the sale. Goodwill desires to assist Louisville Metro government tenants, Louisville Metro government's tenants in the NEA Center to make the transition of their businesses to new spaces as smooth as possible. If the WEOP board should approve the proposal, we have already begun to do analysis of available spaces in the tenants to consider and locate their businesses. We have shared some of these possibilities with Jessica Bell of Louisville Metro government. If WEOP board were to approve this proposal, Goodwill would contact each tenant to get an understanding of what they need and provide support to continue to identify alternative spaces and to offer relocation assistance such as moving expenses and deposits. Louisville Metro government has decided to offer their tenants rent through November 30th. Even though each tenant is currently on a month-to-month lease, Jessica Bell, leasing manager for Metro, has also offered to help provide connections to nearby available offices and retail space. It is Goodwill's sincerest intent to support these business owners and to help them identify a secure office space in the West End. And also, as I may add, that Goodwill has signed the acknowledgement that's inside of the CD that was approved by this board. So therefore, oversight is in place to ensure that this occurs. The actual agreement itself that is being proposed, the background is Goodwill Industries has requested the West End Opportunity Partnership purchase the property at 2900 West Broadway. Goodwill has proposed the purchase of the property from TARC for $2.1 million. Is value documented by third-party appraisal. Through a letter of intent submitted to TARC on May 21st, 2025. The property will be the location of the affordable housing built by Goodwill in conjunction with developer Walter Cooper Companies, using tax credits awarded by Kentucky Housing Corporation. The tax credits cannot be used to finance the purchase of the property. Thus, Goodwill is looking for assistance in completing the purchase so that the project may be completed. The partnership will assume the May 21st, 2025 letter of intent and purchase a fee simple interest in the property. After purchase, the partnership will enter into a business relationship with Goodwill to facilitate the completion of the affordable housing project. These are the three options that are on the table. The partnership will purchase and own the property and enter into a 99-year lease with Goodwill at $1 a year. Goodwill will demolish the existing structure, then enter into a sublease at a rent of $1 a year with the operating entity building the project, Opportunity Village. The second option is the partnership and Goodwill will purchase and own the property as tenants in common with the ownership split of 80-20. The partnership and Goodwill will demolish the existing structure financed solely by Goodwill, then enter into a 99-year ground lease with Opportunity Village at a rent of $1 per year. The third option is the partnership and Goodwill will form a nonprofit limited liability with an ownership split again of 80-20. And the new company will purchase and own the property, financed from the capital contribution from the partnership. The new company will demolish the property, financed from the capital contribution from Goodwill, then enter into a 99-year ground lease with Opportunity Village at a rent of $1 per year, I'm sorry. Option one is preferred at this time by both Goodwill and the partnership. Both entities' boards are requested to approve all three options in case options 2 or 3 appear to be more advantageous to both Goodwill and partnership at the time of closing. Under all three proposals, partnership's maximum contribution will be $2.1 million.
I want to let Amy ask Amy if she has a comment.
Amy, do you have any comments you'd like to input at this time?
Excuse me, yes, just briefly, as far as these three options. When we began our discussions with Goodwill staff and starting to vet their application and their request for assistance, none of us wanted to bring anything to you, the board, that didn't involve us, the board, the partnership, having some sort of equity in the project. We did not feel comfortable bringing to you simply a proposal to give a grant of $2.1 million. That's just not where we think this board is in the life cycle of the in its life cycle. It might be in 5-10 years, but right now it's not. So as those discussions developed, it actually went from 3 to 2 to 1 as far as the options that were being considered. Goodwill actually was the one who suggested option 1 as the simplest and cleanest. That would give us the property ownership that is not split with them in any form whatsoever. As far as the concept of entering into a ground lease, that's a very common mechanism used in commercial development. I believe several of the dorms at both U of L and UK are developed like this. I've been involved in several commercial property developments, very common for restaurants, to be developed in a ground lease concept where one party owns the property and someone else builds the building and owns the building, but once the lease is over, the building typically reverts then to the fee simple owner, the owner of the land, because obviously you can't pick up a building and take it away. So what we're talking about here, obviously, we're talking about a lease for $1 a year at nominal compensation. It's not going to generate income for us, but it will give us an asset on our books. It will give us something tangible, and it will give us something we can sell. It'll be subject to the lease, but once the tax credits are recaptured, that is going to be marketable either to Woda Cooper, to Goodwill, to any other purchaser of this in the future. So we do think this gives the partnership something tangible for its investment. It's not, obviously it is good enough that this is good for the community, but we are not asking you to approve some sort of deal where we are getting nothing for our investment. As Travis also said, this is going to enable Goodwill to offer a piece of property to Norton Hospital for expansion of their West End hospital, which will also then increase our TIF, increase occupational tax, increase other types of tax, property tax, that will then go into our coffers at a later time. So I'll stop rambling. I think that's all I wanted to say about the structure of the deal, but just be assured that in the negotiations, we did not want this to be a handout of $2.1 million. There was a priority put on getting something beyond just the larger community benefit, which is huge, but something for the partnership to put on its books and have as a tangible asset.
Thank you, Amy.
So that concludes the presentation. Are there any questions?
No one's raised their hand.
Jennifer.
Oh.
Rita.
Oh, Jennifer has her hand
Jennifer's
raised.
hand, so.
She can
Jennifer,
speak.
Hi, and thank you for the presentation. I do have a question regarding the timing of this proposal. I know there's been some discussion regarding the speed at which this is being contemplated. Can you speak to what I believe Laura mentioned in our early June board meeting regarding the tax credits expiring and why that is creating the sense of urgency to bring this proposal forward to the board this evening?
yeah.
Well, the Goodwill actually applied at the beginning of at the end of last year, beginning of this year, and last applicants, their application has sort of morphed some as they saw a greater need of something that can be done. Several applicants, as Amy mentioned, have asked for full grants and large amounts of money, which their original application was in that model. And as they were told that currently, the way it was structured, wouldn't really fit what the partnership was doing at that time. So, like I said, like several other, they sort of revised their proposal. And when it revised into this, it was taken to the partnership that this is what the deal was on the table at this time. And it just so happened that the tax credits were also attached.
Yes, and these particular tax credits have been awarded to Woda Cooper, and they will expire on or about June 15th
Of this year.
of this year. So a few days. There are 3 hands raised.
I think Dr. Gabe was up next.
Dr. Gabe,
Hey, thank you. So I have a short list of questions. I'll try to get through them relatively quickly. But I'm hoping someone with a better understanding than I have can help me think through this. Because when I think about, so the $2.1 million for the land, to the extent that it won't generate income for us, it seems as though, so we will have this tangible asset, but it's an asset that won't generate really any income for us for the foreseeable future. So that to me almost seems like it is in that way a grant to Goodwill, because it's for a project that they will be using and a development that they will be building, and we won't get anything back. Can you help me with where I'm wrong about that, to think through why this makes sense for us?
yes, Amy, can you provide some words and music concerning the property interests that we'll be acquiring and the value of that interest going forward?
Sure. It's a completely rational question to ask that. But what it gives us is it will stay as an asset on our books. And it will have a value that if we need to leverage that value in the future for other potential projects, we can do that. And it will be an asset that we can sell if we need to. Of course, it'll be subject to the lease. That lease can be amended over time, particularly after the 15 and 30-year time periods. So it does give us an asset that, you know, if we just gave $2.1 million as a grant, that's out the door. This is an asset that is in some ways tied up because it does have this project sitting on it. And we can't evict this project. But it is something that does have value that if we needed to do a bond issue and use as collateral, we could use it. And that if we ever wanted to sell, the lease would not restrict our ability to sell that piece of property. One other thing too is it will be tax exempt. We will not have to sit and pay property taxes. As a government agency, we can hold the property without having to pay taxes on it. So that's not a concern. To the extent we hadn't already said that, but to the extent anyone had a concern about that, this allows it to stay tax exempt. Sorry, Dr. Gabe, I cut you off.
No, that's okay. That's okay. That was clarifying. So if I understand correctly, neither us nor Goodwill will be paying increased property taxes for this development. So in that way, it won't generate new tax revenue that comes back to us. Is that right?
That is correct. This will not increase any income tax, the ad valorem tax that would come back to us through the TIF increment. Any income tax that would be generated because of the tenants having, you know, stable housing, stable jobs, that would generate money for us. And in the bigger picture, if then the other piece of property is sold to Norton and expand the hospital, that is going to help increase the occupational tax, which is one of the biggest drivers of our TIF right now is occupational taxes. So looking at the Opportunity Campus as a whole, it would help that. But you're correct, it's not going to increase the ad valorem property tax because we'd be holding it and we don't pay tax.
Okay. And then anyone, so let's say in 10 years we were to sell it, anyone that purchased it would, you know, hopefully purchase it for at or what we would have purchased it for, but they would be locked into an agreement where they would only get $1 per year for 99 years as well.
Yes, at least for the term of the tax credits require us to do this 99-year free lease essentially. But once those expire, that can be amended. So that can be a discussion in the future. I know that, seems like a long way away, but all of these types of deals, the lease, that can be amended. And so that can then become an income producing asset in the future.
Okay. And just a couple of other quick ones. So are there standards for what percentage of the units will be held for those preference residents versus the broader community? Or are there comparison points based on those other properties that were in the presentation?
It's basically a application. So it will be an open application to the community. Preference is given, but that's not the only, if you're just coming out of a program, you're obviously not gonna be able to potentially afford the $800 one bedroom. So there is a ratio set of from 30% to 80%, which the lowest $95 it was is 26 units, and the next is the 800 at 20 units. So there is a ratio there.
Okay.
And also to address your other question, Dr. Gabe, as the property gains equity, that equity can also be used to secure for other funding through another financial institution.
Okay. And has Goodwill conveyed or given us an idea of how much revenue this project might generate for them?
It will be very minimal. They're not really making anything on this. This is for them, basically their community impact. Walter Cooper, as a matter of fact, they're paid as the GC, and they're also paid, of course, for management. But the financial institution that is holding the tax credits, I mean, it's very minimal profit for both developers, really.
Got it. Thank you.
I apologize. I should have taken some time to call on Miss Sharon Allen. She is the board member whose neighborhood this project will be in. Miss Allen, do you want to make any comments or you have questions?
I just feel like this is a great opportunity for the Parkland area. At least we are building something that's going to help the neighborhood. Not saying that the Neal Center didn't or hasn't, but if we don't invest in it, then somebody else will. And what's to say what they'll build in it? I think it's a blessing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Chris was next.
Dr. Milliner, do you want to call on Chris Romaine? Okay.
Sure, Chris Romaine.
He's
Fine.
next in the queue, it looks like.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, I got a couple of points myself. It's my understanding that the Finance Committee actually did not approve this to actually go forward. And my question is that because, we just did $4 million at the last board meeting, and then we got another $2 million that's going on. And I know for the $4 million deal, we had concerns about the financial vitality of it. And now it seems like we're spending even more money. I know in the pipeline, we've got almost like $42 million worth of requests. And I noticed that some in there are actually loans that will be paid back that appear to be for affordable housing. Is there one reason that we're deciding to displace minority businesses, which are already contributing the taxes and money to the TIF, just to get more affordable housing when there are so many other areas that we could do affordable housing at?
Let me take a shot at answering that question. One of the things that you will notice if you look at the supply of affordable housing in Jefferson County is that there's a 76,000 gap. If you look at the population in West Louisville, the majority of those who live in West Louisville are single women with children under 18. that's a population that's vulnerable and that needs assistance. Certainly 76,000 needed units is a huge amount. But given that we've gotten information back from the 9 neighborhoods that says housing is their number one interest, this project does give us an opportunity to eat away at that deficit.
Okay, thank you. And yes, I do know that affordable housing is a top priority, but I also know that the community has been very opposed to this. From what I'm telling, I've got people in my neighborhood talking to me about it. There's a lot of social media going on about it as well. So I think that's something that we need to be very aware of, that, you know, there are community members who feel that this is not a good idea to displace those businesses and to tear down the NIA Center.
Thank you, Dave.
I just like to respond to Chris. I think that's a good point, Chris, but I also would say there are members in the community that do support it, and there are members in the community that don't support it. The members that don't support it have been very vocal about their and that's why you're hearing from them.
Can I make one comment? And obviously, I don't know, I am not the person to speak for the pulse of the community, but as far as my information from TARC and their ownership of the NIA Center, TARC, with its financial problems, it does not want to continue to be a landlord. And it has been actively looking to sell this property for some time. And it has to sell that for at least the $2.1 million under the terms of its federal grant. So if it's not this project, it's going to be something else. This project at least does give the affordable housing, and Goodwill has made commitments to the tenants. So I think that's something fair to weigh, but TARC does plan on selling this property sooner rather than later.
It looks like Reverend Snarden is up.
Hello, and thank you. I have a couple of questions. Let me start with my last one so it doesn't slip my mind first. But I'm hearing that Goodwill has made some commitments to the tenants. Are there any tenants that can speak to that commitment, and are those commitments put in writing that have been agreed upon with those tenants?
No, it's contingent upon here tonight. Goodwill has not, because they're actually the TARC's tenants, Goodwill has not been allowed to put anything in writing with the tenants. That's why they sent over the letter to show their intention, but it's simply because they haven't been allowed to put anything in writing.
But they did express their intent in that
Absolutely.
letter that we went over.
Are there any tenants that can speak to that?
Good.
Well, they can't actually negotiate with the tenants until they've said that the city will allow them if this approves.
Okay, so there's really no way of verifying what that may be.
What may be?
What those agreements were, and if they're satisfied with that, and if there's something that that's really going to be beneficial. So there's really no way of knowing, because all of that, I mean, that's a conversation, but no one knows where that conversation will go, or even if it would fly until after this meeting.
Well, notice that Goodwill sent a letter of commitment to us. And that letter was read in full earlier when Travis was doing its presentation. It's quite difficult at this point, with Goodwill having made that representation in writing, sharing that with all of you. It would be difficult for them to go back on that commitment. And again, they cannot talk directly with those tenants yet because they're not their tenants.
Correct. Yeah, but nothing is really solidified until you sign. It's just a conversation. But I do understand they sent that letter in, and that's their intent today. Dr. Laura, go ahead.
Also, Reverend Snarden, like I said, the CFE is in place just for these type of situations. They've acknowledged that they will accept that oversight. And if Goodwill does not, and I'm not saying that I believe or anyone should believe that Goodwill will go back on their word. But if Goodwill does not do what they've said that they will do, the ink is in drum, for lack of a better term. I mean, that's why that oversight is in there for every one of the proposals, that everything that you say that you're gonna do will be confirmed.
Mhm. But there's
We had-
also not anyone from that group to say that that is the case. So that's just a confirmation. It's not that I don't believe Goodwill, but it's just business is business. And it's just a confirmation.
Well, David, let me say something. This is William.
Mhm.
That Goodwill put that in writing. And it's one thing to have a conversation, but it's another thing to put something in writing.
Mhm.
And we talking about Goodwill and Norton's, two individual organizations that have already made over $100 million worth of investment in the West End. So I tend to, I guess if you want to say, I tend to trust, hey, I'm not trusting somebody that hadn't made an investment. I'm not trusting somebody that's not willing to say, hey, we're going to say this. Hey, no, we're going to put this in writing. The CEO's going to sign it. CFO's going to sign it. I mean, I think that look, you can get technical, but that's pretty strong. I mean, if organizations are willing to do that, but it's an organization that has already demonstrated commitment based upon the dollars that they've committed to these areas already.
Dr. Lloyd, you had said something about the WEOP in, I don't know if it was the bylaws or the way that we're structured, and you had named how it is appropriate for us to also acquire property. Could you
Yes.
repeat that again, where that is?
Okay. In KRS 65502 entitled Weston Opportunity Partnership Powers and Duties - Purposes. Section 1M, it says, purchase, acquire, own, hold, and dispose of all real and personal property necessary for carrying out its corporate purposes.
Okay, thank you. And then the last question that I had, do we have any idea? I know that Goodwill won't be paying any property taxes, and we won't have to. Do we have any idea of how it may affect the property taxes around that area or the West End in general?
We don't have any projections of that. I will say that the NIA Center right now is, there's no property tax being paid on that since it is owned by TARC. So that will be, in and of itself, it'll stay the same. You do have, as someone mentioned, businesses in there that are paying an occupational tax. So that will be going, but then you'll have income tax for people who are moving in, and then the associated occupational tax for any expansion of Norton. Now, as far as what it does to other property values around, we don't have any kind of projections of that, though I would say property values are probably already changing because of the Goodwill campus that's already there.
Thank you.
David.
Yes.
David.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the transaction.
I'll second.
But I had my hand up. I had another question real quick before we take it to a motion. How many businesses are in the NIA Center that will be impacted by this? And do we know that they can stay in the West End so that we don't lose that revenue?
There's a list of 14, I believe, but 3 of them are municipal organizations, state and local. So beyond that, it may be 11. And from what TARC has said, that one has already agreed to that they're going to leave. So it would be 10.
Thank you.
More discussion, or does someone move the previous question?
So I don't know
just-
if the folks in the room can tell, but I think there are 3 additional folks with hands up.
Yeah.
I see Desmond, Kevin Smith, and Mike.
Yeah, and I think they went up in that order. I know Desmond's had his up for a while.
Desmond?
Yeah, I wanted to state that there's actually, in that neighborhood, I actually grew up on like 29th and Muhammad and then 28th and Greenwood. So the Nia Center was definitely a very good branch for myself, going in and out, learning and whatever I needed to do to get to the next level in life, whatever it may be. But also I wanted to state that there was actually, if you look on market, there's a big affordable housing going up. If you look on Chestnut, there's like 2 or 3, if I'm not mistaken. And then there's another one. It's like about 3 to 4 of them already pretty much going up in that area. And Broadway being a business area for entrepreneurs, making affordable housing on that street actually just seems a little backwards to me, honestly. Housing being next to commercial buildings and stuff like that. Broadway's actually a place for, if I've just lived down there my whole life, for business, not a housing. So I find that to be a conflict. And also, like I said, with as many as affordable housing and as big as they are, they're not small. I can understand if there was smaller units, but they're high risers. Like they're up there. They're pretty significant sizes, and that's going to put a lot of people in one small area. I don't think that's a good idea.
Okay. Let's do the 2 others who had their hands up. Let me also indicate that Ms. Sharon.
Yeah, I don't
may
see her
have to
now.
leave.
She had to leave,
Yeah.
yeah.
But let's do the other 2. Kevin, I think you're next.
Well, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Travis, for the presentation. My question may be for Amy. The thing I think I might like about the lease of the property and WEOP owning that land, but I need to understand the feature in the lease that allows for a renegotiation of the lease. I understand low-income housing tax credits, that in 30 years, those tax credits will expire, which then gives the owner the opportunity to sell. It gives an opportunity for housing to go up market and lose its affordability feature. With WEOP having the lease, it seems like they have a lot of say-so in what happens after 30 years by either continuing to lease for $1 or renegotiating the land lease to the point that it would disincentivize anybody that might try to move it up market. Amy, am I correct about that? And what is the feature in the lease that allows for a renegotiation of that lease?
Yeah, we don't have a draft lease yet, but that is our plan, to put that in the lease, that we have those rights and that we have some say-so because we're going to be the property owner. So that's the plan for the lease itself. It's also, we'll have plenty of indemnity provisions in case of any construction problems that we, environmental problems, anything like that, that we as the owner, that both Goodwill and Woda Cooper are going to bear responsibility for that. So we're going to build all of those protections into the lease that you would have in a standard commercial lease, as well as those abilities to come back at certain intervals for renegotiation, to the extent that it doesn't impact the tax credits, because obviously that's paramount for getting this done.
Very good. Thank you so much.
And then Mike.
All right. Thanks. My first batch of questions is for Amy, and you just got into some of it. If someone's injured on the property as landowner, would WEOP or could WEOP be listed as a party in a lawsuit?
Theoretically, yes, they could, but that's why we're going to have contractual requirements of insurance and indemnity. So if we are named, then that the defense will have to be picked up by Opportunity Village LP and taken care of that way. So none of WEOP's assets will be at risk.
Okay, so we would engage their attorneys, or we would
Their
have,
attorney, it would be like an insurance policy. So we would have veto power over any lawyers if we didn't like it. But just like if you're in a car wreck and your insurance hires a lawyer, I mean, it's one level removed because they've got to take care of everything, but they would have to hire the lawyer, pay for the lawyer, pay for any settlement or any eventual judgment, any of that.
okay. Would the lender for the buildings likely want a subordination clause?
Are you talking about the holder of the tax credits?
I know the PowerPoint lists a bank, several tax credits, and there's about 5 or 6 different things, but is anybody else gonna want priority on this property?
They will not have a lien on this property.
I guess first position.
They have a lien on the project, not the underlying property. So our property will not have a lien on it, if that's what you're talking about. Their only asset is essentially the income being generated by the tenants. They don't have any claim to the underlying property itself.
Okay, so there's no chance of a bank, or I guess, what happens in the case that either Goodwill or the developer, I can't get their name, but if either of them go bankrupt, how does that affect us and this property?
It would not. The lease would probably the lease would terminate because we'll have a provision in it that bankruptcy will be an event of default.
And then would we, have to assume the mortgage, or what?
No.
How do we clean it up?
No, we would simply have the property. I mean, one good thing about this, and it's good to think about those things, is Woda Cooper has never defaulted on any of these, and they've been around for a long time. But that would then end up getting cleaned up with the assets in bankruptcy court, and we would have some say over where the assets went, but our title in the property would remain unencumbered.
Okay. But at cost to us for the defense of that.
Oh, yeah, there would be some legal transactional fees in that event, just like we've got with other things. But yes, there would be a cost.
Okay. Similar question. What would WEOP's responsibilities be if the developer or Goodwill goes bankrupt during construction?
It would be the same.
Okay, so just a long legal battle and some weird structure.
Yeah.
Okay. Has WEOP received an environmental site assessment on the property?
No, no one will be able to do that until after the demo. But that is required as part of the construction process and as part of, getting building permits, all of that. So, no one expects right now. I know Woda Cooper has already done some due diligence as, what I would term as an urban infill project. I don't think there's anything that's unexpected there, but they do have to do phase 1, phase 2 ESAs, all of that as part of their process. But that'll mainly be done after demo, other than what inspections have to be done prior to demo to ensure everything is safe for demo, such as any asbestos abatement. I honestly don't know when the NIA Center was built, if it would be the NARA for asbestos, but there are standard things you would do pre-demo.
Okay, I mean, the areas around there have a lot of heavy industry.
Right.
So I think that would be a concern.
Madam Chair, I move the previous question.
Say again?
I advise the chair that I move the previous question.
Yeah, he's calling the question, Mike.
We must vote.
Not hearing or understanding. Next, I'm gonna share my screen.
Mike,
He called for
Michael?
a question.
Mike,
Uh-huh.
the previous question has been moved. That is a privilege. We must vote since he has moved the previous question.
And
Okay,
Dr.
I
Miller-
Question has to
Yeah.
Has to end.
I don't think you guys are being very fair.
We can do, would you like to do a roll call vote?
Do I get to represent my neighborhood or not?
Michael, he has moved the previous question. I think you need to direct that to David. If
Okay,
he says,
James, do I not get to represent my neighborhood?
Response to is you have your neighborhood and you're doing a great job and it called the previous question.
So we don't have
So,
5 minutes?
Dr. Milner. Dr. Milner, do you want me to do a roll call vote?
Yes, please.
Sharon Allen,
Yes.
Alicia Burns.
No.
Dr.
And just
Craddock.
real
What is the
quick,
vote?
everybody,
What is,
Mike,
what
do
is the
you
vote?
mind unsharing your screen so I can ensure people's cameras are on?
Oh, yeah.
They vote? And I saw Alicia's come on, so.
That's right, Amy. I totally forgot. So I'll start over.
what is the vote?
Here, the motion, and there was a motion and a second on the floor. Then we went to discussion. David
Who
is.
second?
Pardon me?
I didn't hear a second.
I did.
Motion was made by David and it was seconded by William.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm sorry, but I'm gonna go down the list again. Sharon Allen,
Yes.
Alicia Burns,
No.
Dr. Douglas Craddock,
Yes.
Kevin Fields,
Yes.
Jennifer Hancock,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tammy Hawkins. Not with us. Secretary Keith L. Jackson,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor David James,
Yes.
Darlene Johnson Jones. Now, Miss Darlene is on the screen. She's listening. She can see, and then she's hearing Amy on phone. So does she have to turn her screen on to vote, Miss Darlene?
Yeah, under the Open Meetings Act, yes. So,
Okay, Miss Darlene, for your vote, I need you to turn your screen on. I'll come back to you, your camera on, I'm sorry. Dr. Gabriel Jones Jr.,
No.
Dr. Mary Milliner,
No.
Mike Nagel,
No.
Christopher Romaine,
No.
Desmond Smith Jr.,
No.
Kevin Smith,
Yes.
Reverend Snarden,
No.
William Summers,
Yes.
Gary Williams. Okay, Miss Darlene. She can hear, but she can't see. I mean, she can see, but she can't hear.
She can't turn.
You have to turn on her camera. Miss Darlene? Won't let you turn your camera. She's out in the country. She's in a campsite. So in order for your vote, okay, I have you on speaker. In order for your vote to count, you have to turn your screen, your camera on. Okay.
8-7.
Said okay, but
But I hit it if it's
Okay, all right,
Oh,
so
you
we
can turn
have,
the camera on.
huh? Can we turn the camera on here?
Hold on. Hold on.
You can turn it on.
I can turn it on here for her on here, let's see. Hang on just a second, Miss Darlene, here you go. There's the camera, see, here's the camera right here. It's not popping on. But that's fine, yeah, so it's not turning on there. Okay, so hang on, your camera, is not, okay, so we have 8 yeses and 7 no.
Isn't Lyndon?
Lyndon's on, I believe.
That's,
Yes.
it was his proxy. Oh, where is he? Oh, I didn't see him, under Felicia Newman. Okay, Lyndon, what is your vote?
No.
And- no, she hasn't, but we need to get her on so she can, because it would be 8 and 8, it would be 9 and 8 with her. Let's see. Can you Rita? Can I unmute you?
How she's gonna vote.
Pardon? Hello? Okay. So your camera has to be on for me to accept your vote. And then I have you on here. Let me see more.
Tammy is trying to vote. She said y'all didn't hear her. Tammy is on and trying to vote.
Where is Tammy? Because she wasn't present when we did the count. Who's Tammy on trying to vote? Disable panel, start video. Let's see. Hang on, so, hang on a second, Miss Darlene. Here's Miss Darlene, and here's her camera. I don't know why the camera won't come on. So, hang on. Oh, I can't even do FaceTime. Yeah. Well, Miss Darlene. Are the other ones on? Ask to start video. You did? Let's see. Hang on, Miss Darlene. Let's see, get your camera on here. Okay, all right, hold on just a second. Darlene, where is she? Darlene Johnson Jones. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, you did ask. Okay. That doesn't make, does that, wonder if she'll come on then? What do you think?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not either. I'll make her the. She's been on and if, well, give me another minute here. Disabled panelists, unmute themselves.
Can she go back to that place?
Yeah. Eileen, are you outside at the campsite? Cause you're on your, can you actually, oh, you can't do your Zoom on your phone.
She can if she goes.
She's on her tab. You're on your, I mean, or can you go to higher ground? I mean, I hate that you sat through the meeting. I hate that you sat through the meeting and then can't be counted. I know you can see everybody, but you're on your, do you see your camera with the arrow through it? Okay, and you're clicking it? Unable to what, access your camera? Okay. Okay, see if you can go inside here. Okay, what is Starlink? I don't know what that is.
So
In terms of where you're located, okay.
she's on Wi-Fi.
Are you on Wi-Fi? Yeah, she's on Wi-Fi. She's going inside to see if she can get her camera on. And then I'll see if I can turn it on here again. Hang on just a second. Let me see where you are, Dr. Melviner. That's Darla. I know you can see everybody. Okay, and you saw the whole presentation and then you heard it through the phone here. So let's see.
Tell her to close all the other apps.
Close all the other apps off your phone. You have any other apps open? Where is she? Okay, there she is. All right. Changed. Changed again, it moved, but she's trying. Okay, hang on just a second. We're finding you again on here. Thank you all for being so patient there on the
There she
screen.
is.
Where
Go
she
back.
is.
Right.
There she is, okay. Unmute you. I can say, ask to unmute. Okay, I'm asking you to unmute. It's probably where you're located. Let's see if I can do anything else here. Allow you to. What about, Amy, does it work if she comes in if she's visible on the phone and can't be on the screen?
Yeah, you can hold the phone up to the camera.
Yeah. Okay, so hold on, let's see. Hang on just a second. Now, do you have FaceTime or WhatsApp? Which one? All right, can you FaceTime me? Okay. Time, but yeah, it's the location of where she is. Where are you? Huh? Okay, 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 all right. She's not calling me. She said should be a slide feature on her camera. She's gonna dial me right back. Yeah, I don't know why. It.
Is there any type of formal motion we can do to call this since it's almost 9 o'clock and we've gone over the time limit?
No.
Just, she's in
attempting to
on the
vote.
camping trip. She's been on the whole time, so if she's dialing back in here, and this should cover it. Name down. What was your name, Darlene? I'm dialing her back, but she didn't. You didn't call me yet. Okay. Okay, do it. All right, do it. All right. All right, she's got it now. Okay, Miss Darlene. Okay, here we go. I got you. Amy,
Hold her up.
Where
to
do
the
I put
camera.
it at? Where do I put it?
camera.
See you up at the camera.
Okay, on the camera. Hold on. Up here? Amy, you see her?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, it says
Tammy
unstable,
Hawkins
but you
says she's
saw her,
on
right?
the Zoom.
They're in the camping. Did you see that?
Rita, look
Amy?
at your phone. Tammy Hawkins says she's on there.
She's got a dialing back. What'd you say, Chris? A minute. Okay, there she is. Okay, what's your vote, Miss? Every time I hold it up, it goes, connection is unstable for where she is. What's your vote? What is your vote? Yay or nay? Okay. All right.
Tammy is trying to vote. Tammy Hawkins is-
She wasn't even on the call, was she?
What? Tammy been in the
No.
meeting? Tammy is texting saying she's trying to.
But she
vote.
hasn't been in the meeting.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Miss Rita, what was the vote? I didn't hear.
All right, so it's 9-8.
The last vote.
9-8. 9 yeses.
Ms.
And,
No.
Darlene,
Thank you.
oh, the last vote, Mr.
Tammy Hawkins is on the call.
yes, but where is she? That, we're trying to get to her. Where is Tammy? Does anyone?
Well, she wasn't
are we
even- she wasn't-
overlooking her block here. She's texting saying she's trying to
Oh,
vote.
here she is. She's FaceTiming. Why is she FaceTiming? She's supposed to be on there. If she wasn't there. Huh? She's here on my phone. She's in a meeting. That's Miss Darlene, still on here.
Amy,
Yes.
need some guidance. We keep getting text messages from Tammy saying that she is trying to,
She wants to
I'm
vote,
not
but
sure
she
where
wasn't on the
she is.
call.
She's not on the screen and has not been in the meeting.
I think
And right
that's,
now, I have 9 yeses and 8 nos.
I mean, she is a board member, so if she is in before we adjourn and that the vote is called, I think
How
that
did we
would
do-
call ultimately for the chair.
How did we get to her though?
I don't know. She hasn't been in the meeting.
As the chair, if it is my call, I do believe as a board member, she should be allowed to vote, especially since we've had so many issues with the, getting Miss Darlene on the screen and all of that. If we're allowing Miss Darlene to vote via FaceTime and
Hey, this may be her. Hello? Oh, shoot.
Tammy
don't-
had the link. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see her in the attendee room, so I don't see her to pull her over.
Can you see if you can, is that
Is that
her?
her? Miss Darlene is still on my phone.
Oh,
There
here she is. Okay, Tammy, we have you. Hold on just a moment. Okay, all right, hold on, Tammy. Take it.
She want to vote?
Folks, no, I've been in the meeting the whole time. Y'all just gonna let me in. I
Okay,
done text your phone, Rita. I done text your phone, Laura. I done text everything.
Well,
Okay.
Tammy, I was on with Miss Darlene and I sent you 2 links, 3 links, 4 links.
okay.
I didn't see you.
Hold on.
I didn't see you. It's
Hold
fine.
on. We are going to, hold on. We are going to allow you to vote now. We'll
She
have
did
to
already.
go-
She said, I got to put her camera.
Okay. Tammy, Jesus,
Yes.
Tammy. Oh, don't leave yet because we need to show your face.
There's a
on the camera.
process, Tammy. There's a
Hold on.
process. Hold on. Now you can vote, Tammy.
They can see you.
Tammy. Vote.
I said no.
All right.
Hear me?
No, yeah.
You ain't gotta be on her. I got in touch with Rita.
Okay.
That's Herndon. Yeah. I didn't see her on the call, so, you know, when I did the
I
thing,
think she was
so.
on the public side.
Oh, was she?
That's what I think.
Oh, well, I sent her links for this side. Okay, 2, 3. Where's Miss Darlene? Okay, I got you. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What do you get, Laura? Well, he's not here, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, Lyndon. I didn't get his. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me count it again. Is it? Okay. 9, Dr. Milliner. 9.
All right, so we have a vote of 9 to 9. So the motion does not carry. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to get a roster of the votes.
I'm sorry, couldn't you?
Adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to get a roster of the votes.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Please adjourn.
The
Thank
mo-
you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.